Right. Hello and welcome. Thank you so much. I'm really enjoying the chat here. We have a whole variety of people, including running a radio group. So let's pick up on that afterwards because I'll tell anybody who listens, getting on the radio is my absolute goal. Yes, it's nice to be in BBC. Yes, it's nice to be in the Guardian or the local papers or whatever, but commercial radio is actually one of the best ways to get your message out there. So, if you're just joining us, the waiting room has been disabled. You're very, very welcome. I'm Sarah. It is lovely to meet you. If you're watching the replay, hello. I hope you had a really great day. And, thank you for sharing what it is and what you do, because that just really helps me tailor my examples, because I've no idea who's coming once when I set these things up. But it's brilliant to have such diversity in the room. So, if we haven't met, I'm Sara McCracken. I'm based in County Down, Northern Ireland, but I have delivered comms throughout the whole of the UK. And I think the one thing we have to thank COVID for is the fact that I can do this from the comfort of my home office. Including that afternoon, I delivered PR training for the Government of Bermuda press team. Unfortunately, it was not in person, but next time, hopefully. I've worked in PR for 25 years. I've helped charities, businesses, consultants, various leaders, people doing genuinely brilliant things to get the recognition that they deserve. Like I said, I'm here in Northern Ireland. There's chickens, there's ponies, there's a lot of mud, there's dogs, they have been banished. There's cats, there's all sorts, and we breed race horses as well, just as a wee aside. I built the PR club and my press membership, which I'm going to talk to you about today, because people with the best stories are often overlooked, especially if you're a small business. If you're starting out, you don't have the big budgets that you need for an agency or to employ a comms lead. And again, I just want to be able to give you what works. I'm not here to gatekeep. I have a process that I follow. I've done it for years. I know it works. And again, if I can help you get some PR, get some media coverage, I would just be delighted with that. And your story is good enough. A lot of people have the fear of the socials, fear of, speaking to a journalist. But again, PR is not complicated. It is really easy to do when you know how to do it. So again, that is what I am here to change, here to teach you how to do it well. And again, when you do get the budget, when you do want to work with an agency, hopefully I have given you enough tools as well to ask the right questions to make sure that you're getting the service that you have signed up for. So yeah, I do like an award as well. So I was one of the top 50 independent practitioners last year. I'm on the I also top entrepreneur list for Small Business Britain this year, which is epic. So you've already started telling me in the chat who you are, what you do. Please share your links. Let's connect up, let's support each other. That's a key part of getting visible. There could be potential collaborations on this call. And again, what do you want to know most about getting into the media? We've already talked about, need help with socials, need to get beyond that social bubble, just want that help promoting books. And we have somebody from the radio industry here. So epic, all these different skills, we've all different experiences, but they really, really all add up. Great to see some connections running into the chat there. If you're watching a replay, you've missed all the crack. But anyway, drop me a link below with some of your connections and we'll get caught up. So, does this sound familiar? I don't know where to start when it comes to speaking to the media. Type a yes in the chat if that's you, or a maybe, or DM me behind the scenes if you're not feeling that confident. And I mean, you're not alone in that. This is something I hear a lot of the time, and so you're not alone in this. And by the end of, this hour, I hope you're starting to feel differently about the role that PR and media can play with your business. Everything I'm sharing with you today is about getting coverage about you, your product, your service, raising your profile, becoming more visible, and it's about building that credibility and trust with your customers. People buy from people. So you can have the best ad campaign in the world, but if people don't actually know you or like you or trust you or have seen you in different formats, on different platforms, then you're going to have a much, much harder sell. And I'm hoping you're here because you want to learn how to get into the media. And, a lot of people choose to do their own PR, especially when running a small business. Budgets are tight. You're just starting out, and that is absolutely fine. You do not need a big agency. You don't need a huge budget. What you need is a plan and the right approach, and it's never too early to start. And like I said, in the future, when you do have the budgets, you will be working with a comms lead. You will be working with a PR person, potentially in an agency setting. But until we get to that point, let me show you how to do it. Let me give you the tools that I have used for many, many years now. But before we go any further, everybody thinks your PR is just about sending out press releases. I've worked in many organizations and you just get, well, can you just send out this wee press release for us? No, I can't. Um, because we need to understand what the purpose of all that is. And there's so much more to PR. Marketing is about making your audience aware of your brand and products or services. It's about selling, as is advertising. It's about bringing attention to products and services, and you pay for that space. And how PR is different is it's about cultivating relationships between brands, your business, and your audience organically. It's about building that reputation and trust. PR is about your reputation. It's the result of what you do, what you say, and what others say about you. What are they saying about you when you're not in the room? How have they formed that opinion? A PR approach can really help to shape that. And here's why it matters. You've done it yourself. You need to buy something. You need to learn about something. So you've done an online search. So you're a potential customer searching for a product, business, or service, and you've maybe landed on a media article about said product, business, or service. What is that now forming in your mind about the credibility of this product? And that's what I want for you. It's about building that credibility before someone's even spoken to you. That is the power of PR. So think of all those different ways that you can show up publicly, all the places where a potential customer, a journalist or maybe a partner might come across you. Think of a funder if you're a charity. Each one of those is a credibility marker and they all add up. So your customers, they're talking about you when you're not in the room. And PR is about taking control of what they say. Now, I'm going to caveat this. No amount of PR spin is going to maintain a shoddy reputation. That is not what this is about. This is about that credible, positive approach, telling your story, showcasing what you do across all these different ways. So yes, your social media has to be embedded in your PR and communications. Your media relations play a part. You've maybe got blogs and a website. Maybe you're doing lobbying and advocacy work through your public affairs. It all comes together and needs to be tied together in your plan. And as Oprah said, in the end, all you have is your reputation. It's being built every single day. So whether you're actively managing it or not, and, we really want people to be telling your story, not leaving it to chance. And think about those incidences whereby something's happened and the reputation of a person or an organisation has just collapsed. Think Gerald Ratner and the jewellery back in the day. Think about any more recent ones. I hate to mention his name. Elon Musk, with the sledgehammer in his, armored truck that smashed to pieces. It's not really helpful for your reputation for these things to be happening. So again, let's think about what we're doing. What are we posting online? How are we engaging with the media? And how is that improving our reputation? So I am going to give you some actionable steps you can take today. I will introduce you to Press, which is, an online community membership that I have developed for small business owners specifically, as well as other ways to work with me. And again, Q&A, ask me absolutely anything. So I think you're on the right place, but let me just check. You're in the right place if you don't know where to start when it comes to your PR. Or maybe you worry about what other people will think. That's more common than you might think as well. There is a real fear about, oh, who am I to talk about that? Who am I to go and speak to that journalist about whatever it is? Maybe you're thinking, oh, I've seen other businesses in the media. I mean, I could have done that. I won that award last week. Why am I not in the press? So again, that should be you. And again, maybe you want that tried and tested framework to follow. If any of those resonate, you're very welcome. I can help you with that. Maybe as well you feel a bit invisible in your industry. If you're just starting out, you've got that book to launch. Maybe you're a new author, established author, but again, how do you cut through the noise of all the other books that get publicized? Maybe I know you're good at what you do, but how do we get people to notice that? You're juggling so many things and you need that expert support. My to-do list is a million miles long. I'm not an expert in accounting. I've just got an email in from my accountant wanting more bank statements for my end of year tax returns. So again, you need that expert support, and PR is one of those places you can absolutely get expert support. And again, if you want a simple, strategic way to get you or your product, your business, your service noticed, you're in the right place. I've spoken, yeah, I've been doing this a while, hundreds of people over the years. And again, this is why, in my view, that they are failing to get in the media. This is what they're telling me. They don't know how to get started, so they don't take any action at all. They jump in without a strategy, which is a real scattergun approach, which leads to little outcome. You know what it's like. You're doing all things. Someone says, "Oh, I must post on social." So you post on social. I must do this. So you kind of run over and do that, and it's exhausting. It's overwhelming because I've been there as a small business owner. Again, your comms approach, it has to be aligned to your business planning. Otherwise, what's the point? What is a goal you want to achieve as a business? All your PR, all your comms has to ladder back with that. And if they've lacked a structured approach to raising their profile and getting visible, again, that's another reason, a common reason why I have seen people failing to get the PR coverage that they need. And again, they start missing opportunities because they just don't know what to do. And you start to feel like you failed and you haven't failed. What it is that you need a structured process. I'm all about the plan. You need a plan to follow. You need to know what you want to achieve, who you want to talk to, what you want to say to them. And by working systematically through that in a consistent, constant manner, tailored to what it is that you need to achieve, you'll have a whole lot more success. So I'm going to cover today what's stopping you from getting in the media, what's missing when it comes to getting in the media, and those actions that you can take right now if you want to start to raise your profile through the media in particular, but again, equally applicable to your social media, your mailing list, other opportunities, pitching to podcasts as well. So, 6 areas that I find stop people from becoming more visible, from doing their PR or getting in the media. And as I go through each one, have a bit of reflection, feel free to type it in the chat which number resonates with you. Get a notebook, jot it down beside you, and then we can always come back to that at a later stage and have a conversation about how we can improve things. So, I don't know where to start. How does the media work? It's a very common question. You feel stuck at square one. I mean, where to begin? There's so much. Do we need BBC? Do we need radio? Is it local paper, national paper? I don't know. But again, is that where you're feeling right now? Or do you feel like you're making it up as you go along? Again, very common for small business owners. You start a business. I was at an event at the weekend with Small Business Britain. I'm talking to a lot of women in business, and they're like, I didn't know how to run a business when I started. None of us do. So again, when it comes to your PR, are you taking that scattergun approach? Again, you're not getting those real results because, it's just wee bits here, there, and everywhere. So taking action can feel so overwhelming. What have I got to say? Is that running through your head? Why should a journalist listen to me? Because you're really good at what you do and you've got a story to tell. That's a spoiler. But again, this is why I love meeting small business owners. This is why I love reading the chat about what you're all doing because what's your founder story? Who have you helped? You have so much to say. Are you opening new premises? How are you improving the community? You have so many things that we can talk about in terms of what you have to say. It's brilliant. This is also a very common one. I don't want to look like I'm showing off. There is a fear of judgment, particularly for female founders. That who does she think she is? Who do they think they are saying all of that? And again, I was in one of the Facebook groups I was in, and it's part of an award that we've all been part of. And a lady published in the group, she felt really embarrassed sharing the media coverage that she secured, and that made me feel quite sad because we should all be celebrating our achievements. And again, not you, then who? Show off, toot your horn, whatever phrase you wish to use, but absolutely. Tell people how good you are. Tell them how good your product, business, or service is because you are in business to help people. Again, do you feel a wee bit sick at the thought of feeling to a journalist? It's called the dry bulk if you're from Northern Ireland. I don't like how I sound or look. Nobody likes how they sound or look, but it's not about you. It's about how your customers are perceiving you. And again, they're going to think you're great. They're going to think, "Ah, I love the sound of that. Let me go and find out more." And again, you might be thinking, you just don't know any journalists. Well, they're quite easily found. And again, I can help you with that. But, journalists are people, they're here to do a job. They have stories to write. They need content for their publications. And again, whether it's like hard news for the BBC, 24/7 scroll, or is it for local papers, there's something for everybody there. Here's another big one. I don't have time for all of this. I absolutely hear you. The juggle is real. And you have a long to-do list. Yeah, you don't even want to see my to-do list. Like today, I have declared war on my inboxes. They're going down to zero today. It's mostly deleting stuff that I'm signed up to or things that aren't relevant. But again, it's overwhelming. I have other things to be doing. I have a campaign to write. I have other stuff to be doing. And again, as a small business owner, I'm quite sure you're in a very, very similar position. So, what's the outcome of all of this? All these six factors. You stay, I can't talk today. You stay stuck. So there's no action at all. There's no profile or visibility in the media, on your socials, on podcasts. Nobody's going to know about you, and you're going to lose sales to your customers. So I would love it if people knew more about you and your businesses. And it's like the cost of inaction, if you want to put it like that. Do you know, you're here today to start to change that. And again, I will give you some steps you can take this afternoon to start getting some PR. But again, it's how can you step forward, start to showcase what it is you do, take those opportunities when they arise, and start getting those sales in from your potential customers. So before we go any further, let me just check in. Oh, there's loads of stuff going on in the chat. I might have to have a wee quick check at that. Do if you're thinking, I need a plan, I need support to make this happen, type a wee yes. You're not committing to anything because I just need to know where we're at just in terms of what I'm talking about. So I can start to give you the information that you need. So let me one wee quick. Oh gosh, loads in the chat. Oh, one, two, and four. Yes. Yes, spinning in circles. Oh, here, ever decreasing circles, I find. Yes to a plan. Oh God, my fellow planners are here. This is brilliant. And I'm not talking War and Peace. I'm talking a plan on a page, which is brilliant. Don't know any journalists. Used to get story requests pre-COVID. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the whole landscape has changed. We need to be tracking down journalists, finding out who they are 100%. Okay, brilliant. Love a plan. Excellent. Got all the planners. It's brilliant. Love a plan. Okay, where are we at now? Right, so we're going to hang out together, whether today, whether in the future, whether in LinkedIn or socials. Um, I am going to help you get, the formula to pitch to press and secure media coverage. You see these big bold claims on social media. I'm going to give you the exact formula. I am. And it's really, really straightforward. It's about learning what the press wants and needs and how to build your credibility. So again, stuff I've been doing for the last 25 years, step by step by step. It's not a quick fix. You're not gonna, maybe you will get a big scoop tomorrow. I don't know. But again, PR is about that consistent approach to your credibility and building it up over time in particular. Again, I will show you how to prepare your press releases and your pitches, tried and tested approaches, and the best structure to use. And yes, you can use AI 100%. Use an AI tool to say, write me a press release about blah, blah, blah. That's fine. But how do you know what you have out the other end is good? And this is why in the media training that I deliver, I give people structured templates. So when stuff comes out the other end, they know actually that this is right. Because journalists are very busy people. They get hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of emails, on a daily, weekly basis. So again, you have to structure things so that they will actually read it. But we can talk about that later on as well. And again, it's really important working with small businesses and entrepreneurs. It's about building confidence without burning out. It's about preparing and practicing and shining in your interviews. So it's removing that overwhelm. It's getting the confidence to stand up, in front of an audience and say your thing, or to pitch to that podcast, or to, ring, contact that journalist. So again, it's small steps for me, win over great big grand gestures that you just feel completely overwhelmed and burnt out over as well. And again, it's about making PR work on your terms. Again, I've got my press framework, which I'll tell you more about. But again, I use it on a daily basis. It stands for plan, reach, engage, story, and shine. And it's about removing the overwhelm and giving a repeatable system. It'll give you a repeatable system. It gives me a repeatable system on a daily basis when I'm working with clients. Again, that structured approach to remove the overwhelm and get results. Now, maybe you're thinking, but I'm not ready. I've only just started my business. I've got all these other things to do. I don't know what I'm doing yet. And again, it is so common to feel like that. It is never too early to do PR for your business. In fact, the earlier you start, the better. So a wee quick example is Naomi had a business win to celebrate. She wanted a story in the press about it. So I gave her access to one of my trainings. She went through the step-by-step approach. She sent me her press release that she wrote. It was amazing. Like, didn't even have to edit. I'm the word, like, I'll edit anything you send me, but it was epic. She sent it out. She got the press coverage she deserved. She's running a really successful VA business now, as well. And I'm just delighted with her. So again, if you've got a plan and the right approach, you're going to get some results. And again, think about when you're just starting out, you've got your launch story. You want to launch your products. You want to launch your services. You want to be showcasing what you're doing, telling the story of what you're doing, even within your local media or pitching to podcasts. So again, as soon as you can, start your PR. Now, another common thing that I hear is, I've tried PR before, it didn't work, or, I've worked with so and so before, or insert agency name, or I just didn't get anything back. This is quite common, and just to be really direct, it comes down to sort of one of three things. Not having your plan, not having it linked to your business outcomes, having the wrong message or story. Again, what is it we're trying to talk about? And not enough consistency as well, because people need to see it in multiple places. Remember those credibility markers before they start making decisions to work with you. So these aren't a reason to stop, but they're a reason just to reframe what you're doing and start to do it a bit differently. Again, let me help you with that. This is Denise. Denise is in my press membership, and she was one of the, I've done PR before, it's never worked. So anyway, we've been working with Denise. We had our call, and we've mapped out a 90-day plan for her, and she is starting to launch her products. She's a new product she's launching, and again, she's been working systematically through her PR to promote that. So what's missing when it comes to getting in the media? Oh, in part two now, look at that. Time's flying. This is where it starts to get interesting, because when I ask people why they're not getting in the media, they sometimes start to blame themselves. They think they're not interesting enough or not well known enough, and that's not the reason. Again, for my planners on the call, if there's no plan in place, they don't know where to start. That's quite a specific reason. It's a specific thing that we can start to address. Again, if you're not clear on what you're saying, think about how your email inbox are. Now, think if you're a journalist getting hundreds and hundreds of pitches, AI written, bland pitches in on a daily basis, not clear about what the story is about. That's not going to get you any coverage. And again, if you lack that confidence to take action, again, you're not going to get anywhere with that. So let's fix all of it right now. Fail to plan to fail. Nobody will know about you. Your competitors will be known. And again, this is all part of stage one of press, which is P for plan. So again, it's part of mapping out your visibility goals, creating a personalized PR roadmap together. And again, whether I do it with you, whether I do it with another client, the planning for me is everything. A plan on a page, it doesn't have to be War and Peace. An infographic, whatever works for the way your brain works. But again, a plan is really, really important. And it just keeps you, because you can think, oh, this sounds a really interesting opportunity. Does it link to what I want to do? You can then start to make some active decisions on your PR. Not clear on what you're saying. Again, nobody will hear you. If your message is a wee bit fuzzy, it won't be clear what you do, and your customers won't know why they should choose you. Think about how you scroll on social media. Attention span of what, 2 seconds, 3 seconds if you're lucky. Again, getting really clear on what it is you're trying to say. When you're pitching to the journalist, having your top thing right up front, and then be really, really clear about what it is you do and who you want to help. This applies as well when you're out networking. Have your little elevator pitch ready, who you help, how you help them, and what you can offer that you can say in 10 seconds or less. So again, this is like part of the engage work that I do with clients or with small business owners. So again, it's about building your message so you can pitch it with clarity, so journalists who are part of your audience can start to understand who you are and why you matter. Confidence. I'm on a mission to give everybody the confidence to do PR better. I mean, you should be doing it. But again, it's, I'm not good enough. Or, but if not you, then who? Nobody else is going to come along and start telling everybody how brilliant you are. Well, that's your testimonials. That's another element of your credibility. But again, let's get us started. You're absolutely good enough to be doing PR. Your customers need to hear about you. If they don't hear about you, then you're not going to have any customers, no clients. That would be a bit of a disaster when we're running a business. So again, this is about shining. This is about stepping into that spotlight with the confidence that you have. And again, from the press membership perspective, we have a really great supportive group within that. So you're never alone. When I'm working with clients one-to-one, again, we have our practice sessions. We get all the messaging together. We have Q&As. Again, it's having that confidence just to say, yes, I am going to do this interview, or I am going to pitch this podcast, or I am going to do a video on social media, even if it's just a 10-second Insta story. And again, your customers will start to hear about you. So why am I telling you all of this? I just want to help you succeed. Nothing more, nothing less than that. Um, I've seen what happens when, people start to get visible. They start getting new clients. They start getting speaking opportunities. Media coverage then starts to build on itself. I can give you an example of that. I was in Local Women magazine a couple of months ago based on the F Entrepreneur Top 100 award that I listed that I'm now on. The local paper then picked up off the back of that. So that came to me, but it would never happen if I hadn't written the press release and sent it out myself. So again, media coverage starts to build. Confidence comes from knowing that you're being heard. And I want that for everybody on this call or watching on the replay. And the first time you do it, right, it's terrifying. I know it is. But the second time you do it, it's slightly less terrifying. And then, you get better as you go along. So if you've ever thought any of these things, oh, what if I mess up? How many times have I stumbled over my words today? Have you noticed? Do you care? It all happens. What if no one wants to hear what I say? Well, you have a brilliant business. People need to hear about it. What if people laugh at me? What if they think I'm showing off? What if, what if, what if, what if? Can you write down a list of what ifs? And again, these are covered in P for Plan. We need to get over these mindset things. But again, these thoughts are really, really normal. Every single person who's ever got media coverage or been on a podcast has had at least one of these thoughts. And the difference is they did it anyway. So again, push the button. You know why you've written something, you push the button and then you just think, oh, I've just sent that. That's where we need to get to, because then you never know what's going to come after that. But you need to take that first step. So what if we work together, to get a PR plan in place, to get really clear on what you are saying? What would that change for your business? What would happen if you took action, to get something in the local paper, to get onto the local radio station? How would that change? Have a little think about that, because this is what I want to show you next. So, what if? Here's the other side of the what ifs, which is why I really encourage you to write them down, because then you can write the counter to that. So, what if someone needed to hear what you have to say? What if you're a charity running a service for, I don't know, young people, whoever it is, and the young person heard about that and they reached out to your charity? Amazing. What if you sent out that press release? What if you sent out that press release and it got picked up by the local paper and there you are and people started to read about you? What if you inspired someone to take action? What if you did that media view? What if, what if, what if? And these things happen all the time. You did that media interview and a client got in touch and, why, I heard you on the radio last week. You'd be surprised now the number, it's like the friends and family media monitoring. You'd be surprised at the number of calls you'll get and texts you'll get from friends and family after you've been on the radio. But I heard you on the radio. And you go, yes, that was me. Wasn't it great? So again, these can happen for you too. So coming into our 3 actions you can take right now to get in the media. And again, these aren't vague suggestions. I want things to be very specific and practical and doable today. I'm a very practical person, but again, they're all starting points. They're part of a bigger system. So we need to solve these problems. We've talked about these, make it up as I go along, or I don't know where to start, or, haven't got time. None of us have time. You're all here on your lunch break. I really appreciate that. You're feeling a wee bit sick at the thought of speaking to a journalist. So again, let's address these. So the first way to address these is to understand what journalists are actually looking for. And maybe my media colleagues on the call can add to this in the Q&A. Journalists want clear angles that matter for their audience, not your business. So there's a wee bit of a difference there. So again, think of if you have a story about sustainability. You're not going to be contacting the health correspondent, for example. You're going to be looking for a publication that is going to be, a bit more sympathetic to publishing a story like that. I'm based here in County Down, Northern Ireland. I know what my local newspapers are. I'm not going to be pitching to a newspaper that is in a different county, for example. So again, angles that matter to the journalist's audience is really, really important. Stories that explain why now, not just what you do. So not a dressed up marketing thing or a dressed up advertorial, an actual story about what you do, what your business, who do you help, real people, real experience, informed opinions, and clarity and relevance. So nothing long or jargonistic, please. Because yeah, who's got time to read a whole pile of jargon? So things that get ignored would be, generic announcements, overly promotional pitches, anything that reads like marketing copy. So again, inside press, inside the system I use with clients, what we do is we learn how to read the media landscape and pitch with purpose. It's a real core part of the press program. And again, it's not about guessing what the journalist wants, it's about actually going and researching and finding out what they need. If you've got an idea or story that you want to have a chat about later, type it in the chat. Absolutely not a problem. We've got some book launches to do here, some charity stories, I'm quite sure. But yeah, lots of things to talk about. So the second thing that you can do is turn what you already do into a media-friendly story idea. Because the story's usually already there, it's just you maybe haven't recognized it yet. And this is why I just love sitting down, even for 15 minutes. I've got an opportunity later if you want to just have a 15-minute tea and chat with me, to start to hear what people do and start to pull out stories from that. I mean, I spend a lot of time going, oh my goodness, that's amazing when I hear about people's businesses. So again, your experience, your opinions and client work, those are often the story. Think about the stories you are reading in the media or listening to about on podcasts. You're going to have a story that aligns with one of those, I am quite sure. Think about the everyday challenges that could become a strong angle. And again, I would rather you sent off, a quick pitch with some relevant insight to what the journalist needs for their audience, if you remember part one, not perfection. There's no point in spending like an hour a day, a week, polishing this article, pitch, come press release thing that's just going to land in a sea of 300 other emails that day. So again, get your message, really sharp, really clear, get you turn it into that media friendly story idea and get it out there. That is the very, very first step. And again, it's not about inventing stories, it's about being real. I hate the word authentic, but it is about being authentic and showcasing the brilliant stuff that you actually do. So again, you 100% have a newsworthy story to tell. You just need to know how to find it. So a wee exercise for you to do after the call, write down 3 things that happened in your business last week, or maybe in your family life last week. Would that make a good story? Would that make a good LinkedIn post? Would that make a good social media story, for example? Have a wee think about that. And again, start to follow through. Again, taking action is everything. So again, I know it's easier said than done, but stop overthinking what to say and take that action. Just get it written down, ping off an email. You never know what will come off it. Stop second guessing yourself. You have every right to pitch your story, to send out that press release, to showcase your product, business, or service in the media, on socials, on podcasts, for example. And again, don't stay stuck on social media. Go beyond it. Again, you'll understand that when you're on your social channels, there's that echo chamber going on. You're at the whim of the algorithm. So again, yes, you need to be doing socials. It needs to be aligned to your communications and PR planning as well to amplify what you're doing, not just because you think you have to be doing it. And again, the momentum matters more than getting everything right. So again, how can you consistently pitch? Can you create some stories around? I'll give you an example. I have a lady in the press membership. She's done an article on choking and allergies for the Easter season. Because, you give a child an Easter egg, you don't know if they've got an allergy to lactose, or if it's a Kinder egg, if there's a choking hazard and all the rest of it. So again, getting that momentum, getting that pitch together was more important, and sending it out rather than her sitting worrying about writing this great big long press release about it. So again, what I would encourage you to do is take your next step. The people getting media coverage are not better than you, but they've taken some action to be seen. So again, that's what I absolutely want for you. So again, stick it down in your notebook. What's the one PR action that you have been putting off? If you're feeling brave, type it in the chat. If you're not that brave, book a call with me. Let's have a conversation about it and let me help you get that follow through. So, like I keep saying, I've been using this approach for years, and I know it works. So, this is an example from last year's Great Big Green Week. The goal was to make Great Big Green Week mainstream. Get it into the mainstream news articles, to get it from something people vaguely knew about into proper national coverage. So, again, I had a plan. We had a goal, which was to make Great Big Green Week mainstream. I had to reach out to the correct journalists. I had to engage with them. Then I had to get the right story together. We told the story of the people taking part, real people, real impact. And again, the impact was we had a 61.5 million reach across media, not including the 14 ITV segments that we pulled together as well. There was over 500 news articles, 32 radio broadcasts. So again, my role was to get the national coverage organised, ITV. I worked then with the community organisers. I gave them the templates that they needed to get hyper localised PR content as well. So again, this is just what happens when you have a plan, the right message, and you take consistent action. And the team for this was not small. It was me and 3 days a week. With some other part-time help as well for this campaign. So if I can just emphasize, you don't need a whole team of people or a massive, massive budget. You just need your plan in place and to start taking that action. So PR does slip down the list for a lot of people because maybe there's a lack of understanding of why it's important, no accountability to follow through. That's where I can come in. And PR is something I'll get round to. Again, there's overwhelm. You have a to-do list. You haven't got enough hours in the day, but your customers then aren't hearing about you. And again, this is why I built Press, my online community. So it's to give you that structure, that community, that accountability. So PR stops being the thing that you keep meaning to do and starts being the thing that you will actually do. And I'll give you some examples of that as well. It's a membership for business owners and leaders who want to get that real hands-on approach to PR and have that guidance and support to help them get in the media. It's structure, it's feedback, it's encouragement, based on feedback from real businesses. And again, even if it's not what you need right now. Maybe you're in a larger business and again, you need that one-to-one support. I can certainly deliver that using the Press framework, but it's good crack. Like the people in it are epic. And again, I've mentioned this before. The Press framework has 5 stages. So plan, reach, engage, telling your story, and shining. So again, it's all built out. It's all in modules. So it's like 10-minute trainings. It's not like big hour-long seminars that you need to attend. Because again, who has time for that? It's broken down in a way that actually helps business owners. So first of all, we need to overcome your visibility barriers, set your PR goals, all those what ifs, they're going in the bin. We need to understand what visibility looks like for you, map out your PR goals aligned to your business, and create that personalized press roadmap. Again, understanding your audiences and how to reach them, getting really crystal clear on who your audience is and learning how to reach them. Because we all consume news in different ways. Some people scroll, some people, look online, other people listen to podcasts. Again, we need to sit and figure all that out for your ideal customer and then start creating content that really resonates with them. And we go through all the customer personas and what have you within Reach as well. Again, building relationships is key. People buy from people. Same with journalists, same with podcast hosts, same with the people that you're engaging with. They need you to start showing up with purpose, start building those relationships. You can then start to pick up the phone with them. And we need to look at nurturing your audience as well. So again, looking at your mailing list, looking at your socials, looking at that wider picture that goes beyond the media reach. I love storytelling. I have a whole lunch and learn to do on this. It's brilliant. But again, it's about finding and refining your key messages. What do you want to be known for? You write it down. Tell me, what do you want to be known for? So again, how do we then get those key messages in place that we can then adapt to your audience and to the particular channel where they get their information from? Again, building out your story bank, your media toolkit, and again, sharing your story with confidence. It's all about preparation and practice. And again, I do like the shining bit. And again, this is where we do a lot of listening accountability calls every Monday. So again, people in press have already secured their first feature talk or press win. It's brilliant. It's how you stay visible and credible for the long term and really then start to lead with authority and sustain your visibility over the long term. This is just where it all comes together. It's great. So if you feel any of these, I want to know where to start, or I want to stop making it up as we go along, or, taking action now feels within reach. I really hope it does. Is it time for you to start showing off how good you are? Yes, it is. Feeling a wee bit less queasy, that would be good. And again, if you want to get in front and help your customers, then again, taking action is the next step. So again, press will help you plan your media approach, learn how to write press releases and pitches, and get that accountability to take action. So I'm going to tell you a bit more about this, and then we're going to move on to our Q and A. And what time is it? Oh, loads of time. So press is step by step working with me in a group setting to give you the confidence to get, your media coverage, the visibility profile that you absolutely deserve. And I'm so insistent that it has to be a community of supportive business owners. It's people who are all in the same position, because this is what keeps us going, week after week, month after month. If you've no idea where to start, you'll get your PR plan in place. From best kept secret to getting in front of the right people at the right time. It's all about timing as well. There's no secret formula here. It's that consistent showing up, right place, right time. Rather than second guessing, getting your proper messaging in place. And again, going from I've nothing interesting to say to, a story that people stop and remember. And again, that is what I love hearing about. And again, stepping into the spotlight because you are an expert in what it is that you do. What we do then is we have weekly live sessions, so Q&A, accountability calls. I give you feedback there and then on your pitches, your messaging. I had a lovely email or a DM in yesterday going, I knew you'd ask me about this, so here's what I've done. So again, they've got the person's got some media coverage. It's brilliant, all built around a structured framework. Again, I have every PR asset you could ever want built up over 25 years. Templates, checklists, guides, pro formas, pitch docs, whatever you need. I will provide it. And again, there's a private community as well. We will have some social media masterclasses in as well. I have somebody coming in to talk about social media advertising, which is something I know very little about. So we bring in an expert for that. And just by way of some successes, so she's my poster girl for press at the minute. She has regular slots on radio leads because she wrote them a lovely pitch. And she's really good at what she does. She's telling the story. She saves lives through her first aid training. So who is not going to want to talk to her live on air? We have the lovely Gail who did, a short webinar with me, went out, got media coverage, got invited onto podcasts. She is now hosting her own podcast. So we're meeting to talk about that tomorrow. But again, she was taking action, which is just brilliant. And this is one of the favorite emails I got in the other week from one of the press members, just going, oh my God, I did it. So what he did was he reached out to a journalist off the back of a story that was in the media at that point in time and offered his expertise, to extend the story further. So, just brilliant. Taking action is what it's all about. So this is what's included. It is priced at £55 a month, with some bonuses in place. So I'll access to the PR Power Hours. I don't know if anybody here was on those. Those were before Christmas. I did a series of 6 weeks of training to celebrate being a year in business. Instant access, how to write a press release is all included. And again, I'll tell you about the fast action bonus in a minute. Now, there is a 12-month commitment to this, which I'll talk about in a minute. But first of all, if you would like, a one-to-one strategy included, then we can set that up, which is valid for 48 hours. And again, this is what I do with all my new clients. Again, it's understanding what they want to achieve, who they want to talk to, what their messaging is, and then I can take all this information and create a tailored action plan for you. So why is it a 12-month commitment? And again, we discussed this in the press community the other week as well. PR is not one-off. It's not just like sticking out a few adverts. It's, taking time to build your momentum. Your coverage leads to credibility and credibility leads to more coverage, but the compounding effects takes time to kick in. So again, we need that consistency over time, and that consistency beats intensity. So one press release isn't a strategy, but a year of structured, consistent visibility work is what separates you from the people who don't get known at all. And again, it's 1.83 a day. It's less than a cup of coffee. If you have seen my rant on LinkedIn this week, I went to England, I went to London on Saturday, and it was £4 5p for a cup of tea in Starbucks at the airport. So I took a very dim view for that. I do love a cup of tea, and waited till I got to Greg's on the other side where it was £1.80. So again, if that helps frame the pricing in your mind, it's expert guidance, accountability, a private community, all the tools you need, a structured framework for, less than the price of coffee. I don't drink coffee at all, actually, so I need to maybe change that example to tea. So just to break it down, within press, you're getting a minimum 4 hour support per month, bank holidays accepted, for £55, not £75 an hour, which is like an average starting point for hourly PR support. And again, I can come in, I can work with you on a one-to-one basis. I can deliver training for your teams as well. But again, that is going to be at a very different price point as shown here. So there's two ways, two things that you could take action on right now. You can come and join. But what I would love you to do actually is to book a call with me, and then you can ask me any specific questions. If you have any concerns, any thoughts, or you want to know a bit more about what we could achieve over the next 12 months together. But either way, I would just love to help you get in the media. A wee sneak peek at the hub as it stands at the minute. Everything's here. So modules, your calls, your resources, your community, it's all in one place. And again, if you jump on a call with me, that's the QR code for it. I can show you around this a wee bit better, show you how to access the modules. We record the Monday calls, for example. So again, you're going to always have access to those things. And like I said, in the previous slides, everything's recorded in real easy to follow modules with all the workbooks are there, the pro forma templates are all there. It's easily accessible. And again, just some of the members that I have worked with, again, it's all about, doing one thing at a time. It's about getting that clear plan in place. And again, I give homework on a weekly basis. Well, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. But again, the people who are taking the action on a week by week basis are the ones that are getting the actual results. And again, as somebody mentioned there, the plan gives a real clear guide and framework. So that's what I created for them in our hour-long call. And again, when we're talking then, 6 weeks, 3 months later, we can still keep referring back to that plan as well. So everybody's on the right approach. So again, please book a chat with me. I would love to meet you. I just would love to know more about your businesses and what it is that you do. I'm going to look at the chat now in a minute because it's full. And again, thank you so much for your time today. Let me look in the chat. Oh, Joy, yes, we're chatting tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that. Somebody had to leave, that is fine, because we're at lunch. Done beats perfect. Absolutely love a plan.